Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Saha viryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram Satgurum Brahmavidvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 We invoke grace and blessings of Puja Gurudev Bhagavan as we start this new text called Vivekachudamani. The title we have given for this text is Vivekachudamani, Spiritual Foundations, a New Beginning. Spiritual foundations because this text is something which will systematically guide us right from scratch. If somebody is totally new to Vedanta and you are wondering which text should I study so that I can prepare myself, Vivekachudamani is the text. And if you have already studied this text several times, studied other Upanishads, it's a new beginning. That is the beauty of Shankaracharya's composition. Everybody will find something in it. A beginner will find a lot of guidance. Somebody who has gone through these Vedantic texts several times will also find something new to discover. In Advaita Vedanta, when we say, I have studied Advaita Vedanta, the expectation is that person should have studied 3 foundational texts. The first one is Srimad Bhagavad Geeta. That is the first foundational text of Advaita Vedanta. Second is Upanishads. Whichever Upanishad it could be. There are several Upanishads, at least few Upanishads we should have studied, or maybe you can say the 10 Upanishads which Shankaracharya has written commentary on, that one should have studied. Then the third foundational text is Brahma Sutra. There are several mantras in Upanishads which are apparently contradicting. Something is said in one place, another thing is said in another place. The resolution of these apparent conflicts happens in Brahma Sutra. All 3 put together is called as Prasthana Trayi. Trayi means 3. Prasthana means you have begun your journey on Advaita Vedanta with the support of these 3 texts. But the challenge is, they are not easy to understand. Upanishads, if you directly start studying Upanishads, they were revelations to Rishis. So you don't find systematic flow of ideas. Just like when a painter does abstract painting, you need an eye to appreciate what is the beauty there. But if somebody is teaching painting class, they will go step by step. First, this is the canvas, then you draw the square, then you draw the background, and so on. So Upanishad mantras, they are like this, revelations to Rishis, which is very cryptic in some way. To help us enter Upanishads, teachers like Shankaracharya ji have composed auxiliary text. Those texts are called Prakarana Granthas. Prakarana Grantha means they will take a small portion out of the total knowledge which is necessary, and they will help clarify that aspect for us. Prakarana Grantha will focus on one small aspect of the main knowledge. For example, there is one Prakarana Grantha called as Vakya Vritti by Shankaracharya ji only. It clarifies only one topic, which is Mahavakya. How to understand the great statement, Tattvamasi. That is the central point of that text. He will not discuss about qualifications. He will not discuss who is the fit student, a result of knowledge. Not too much is discussed. Main emphasis is how do you understand Mahavakya. That is an auxiliary text. If you study Vakya Vritti, Upanishad becomes easy to understand. So that's a doorway. Can you all tell me another text that you have studied in these classes by Shankaracharya ji? No, in these sessions. Bhaja Govindam. Bhaja Govindam is one Prakarana Grantha. Main topic of Bhaja Govindam is, if somebody says, I don't have time for spirituality, I don't have time for Govinda, Bhagavan says, look at the other side of life. Whenever difficult time comes, our main support will be Govinda alone. Samprapte sannihite kale. Sannihita kala means difficult times. Nahi nahi rakshati dukrun karane. At that time, the knowledge of the world falls short in helping us. So that was Bhaja Govindam. Like this, there are several texts. Vivekachudamani is one such Prakarana Grantha. It is based on Upanishads, but it is an auxiliary text which is composed by Shankaracharya ji so that we can understand Upanishads better. And his way of presenting ideas is so systematic. Sequentially, he will build the thoughts and lead us from one point to another. Have you all seen a tapestry made of threads? Have you seen the back side of the tapestry? All threads are there, but pattern is not there. The back side of tapestry is Upanishad, Veda mantras. Everything is there, but you don't know how it is fitting together. The front side of tapestry, which has a nice pattern, that is Prakaranagrantha. Because it is composed by an individual who really cares for us. So somebody like Shankaracharya ji systematically lays it out. And also the Sanskritam of Vedas are not easy. It is Sanskritam only, but the way in which the Veda mantras are written, Kathopanishad, did you all notice that? Suddenly, when you chant the verses, you find it's not ordinary Sanskrit. It's not regular Sanskrit. But Prakarana Granthas you will find very straightforward, poetic, simple Sanskritam will be used. Many of you go skiing during ski season, right? What is the most difficult slope that they come down on? Black Diamond. What is the simplest slope? Bunny slope. That was the one I was put in. First time I went. There is something to hold on to. You don't even have to make that pie shape. You are just holding on and you are nicely glided through it. It brings confidence. You feel one day I can ski. So on day one, nobody can do the most difficult slope. We have to start with that bunny. Then is what? Blue, I think, or green. Green, then blue, then black diamond. Like that, Prakarana Granthas are our introduction to Upanishads. So unless we have the foundation, who is a fit student of Upanishad? Why should I seek God? What is the process of inquiry? If I directly read the main teaching, I will feel there are gaps in my journey. So that is this text which will help us understand in a systematic manner. Now Vivekachudamani, when it starts, until 100 plus verses, main teaching will not start. 100 plus verses are talking about how to master our inner world. Our Rishis are as though asking us, human beings have become masters of outer world. What is the temperature outside now? Probably in the 80s. How are we sitting inside? Very nice. So we have mastered temperature. You see the glare outside. If we have to have the class outside, not easy. We mastered lighting. Every small facet of creation, human beings strive to master. But the question they ask us is, outer world we have mastered. What about inner world? If a thought of anger rises, do I become a victim of anger? Or can I master that anger? If a thought of desire rises, do I get carried away by that thought? Or have I mastered that thought? So almost 100 plus verses of Vivekachudamani talk about we need to master our inner world along with the outer world. Outer mastery is good, but what good is outer mastery with inner slavery? So Vivekachudamani is a practical text which will start off with this topic. It doesn't talk about consciousness right in the first verse. Then the next part of it is talking about what is the nature of self. That comes a little bit later. What is the nature of truth? Sometimes what happens is, unless we inquire our bondage, we feel bondage is normal. Sometimes we are comfortably miserable. Somebody was telling me, if a child in a remote village or a town who doesn't have access to medical facilities, if they get cataract, they start feeling this is how the world is. This is how sight is. But when that cataract is removed, suddenly you see a clear world, then you realize this is how I should be seeing. So our Upanishads come and tell us our nature is bliss. And we get very comfortable sometimes with mixture of joy and sorrow. Sometimes it is more sorrow, little bit of joy. But we start feeling this is how life is. And Vivekachudamani will challenge it. It will say there is a state of being. There is something called as Brahman. If you attain Brahman, abide in Brahman, life will be of unconditional bliss minus any sorrow. This is the promise of the text. So by the end of Vivekachudamani, you should see whether this promise was met or not. I'm doing this for Yuvakendra also. So somebody asked me towards the end of the class, when is the last class going to be? Because he was calculating that before every session we do Q&A. So he said, if you tell me the last class, one class before I will schedule Q&A. So this text is a long text, but we are in no hurry. Any text you take, same topic will be discussed. So the main point that Shankaracharya will be emphasizing is, how do we master our inner world? Second main topic is, how do we abide in the self? Those of you who have already studied this text and want to go deeper, pay attention to Sanskritam. If you want to sharpen your Sanskritam skills, very good text. There will be a lot of compound words, sandhis are there, you have to split them, rearrange the words. But not mandatory to understand the verse. Only if you are looking something more. Different meters will come. And I'll point it out. Whenever unique meters come, I'll point it out. Now the composer of this text is Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji. He was you'd sometimes wonder, how do you describe Shankaracharya ji? He was a devotee, he was an enlightened soul, Jivan Mukta, avatar, missionary. Everything put together in one person. Established 4 mathas in different parts of the country so that this teaching remains alive. Debated with several people. And his style of debating was, whoever debated with him, they would get clarity about their school of thought through Shankaracharya ji. That is a sign of a healthy debate. There are records where he is debating with a tantrika. He is explaining to them how tantra should be followed. He is giving them the steps of daily practice. And then debating with them on how that will not lead to absolute moksha. So he was somebody indescribable. There is one book where all his work is compiled in one place. So I counted the number of Prakarana Granthas. Like Vivekachudamani is one Prakarana Grantha, auxiliary text. Like that he has composed 30 plus Prakarana Granthas. Some of them names also we have not heard. But they are there. When it comes to devotion, he has composed 65 plus stotrams. 65 plus stotrams, different deities, different parts of Bharat. Recently they did the Hari Mukhemana when Puja Swamiji was here. I was surprised. Shankaracharya has written Panduranga Ashtakam also. Panduranga Bhagwan, very popular in Maharashtra. Shankaracharya ji in Kerala. One who broke all boundaries of state, language, regions, and brought people together. His main emphasis was live a dharmic life and attain Bhagavan. While we are living here, living joyously, cheerfully, and attaining the supremost purpose of human birth. Then he has written commentaries on 10 Upanishads. After he wrote commentary, they started being called as major Upanishads. Otherwise, there is no major and minor. Because Shankaracharya has written those commentaries, it became major Upanishads. Then he has written commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama, Sanat Sujatiya, Hastamalakiyam. Hastamalakacharya was his disciple. He wrote commentary on Hastamalakacharya's composition. All this he did in 32 years. Sometimes I feel he should have written one more text on time management. Productivity and time management. How can some individual accomplish so many things in that short time span? It only shows if we can master our mind, we can master everything else. If mind is under our control, I can master my time, I can master my resources. Everything ties back to this quality, texture of our mind. Now the word Vivekachudamani, that is the name of the text. So you can split it as two words, Viveka and Chudamani. Viveka is formed from the root word which means to separate. In Sanskritam, vichir pruthak karane. So Viveka means to discern between option A and option B and to make the right choice. Sometimes you might be very good in discerning and precisely pick the wrong one. But here Viveka means one who is able to discern and choose the right thing. In fact, whole of spiritual life begins with discernment. Even when we talk to children, when they are going to school, what is the guidance we give them? You will have different types of choices there. Different types of friends. Some will be good, some will be not so good. Your job is not to change either of them. What is your job? Choose the right friends. So Viveka starts from there. Then comes Viveka between right and wrong. What is right? What is wrong? Viveka between what I should do, what I should not do. Everything is based on Viveka only. Can you all find some chair or something to sit? If you are comfortable down, you can sit down. Otherwise, standing is not good for an hour. To come to this class, did you need Viveka? Lot of Viveka. Because there was option A, Vivekachudamani class. Option B, grocery shopping. Something must be there. If I chose option A over option B, what does that mean? I am clear about my priority. That ability to discern between two things, that is called as Viveka. And if you look at it closely, it will appear mixed up. You will say, grocery shopping is also my dharma. Shouldn't I be taking care? Then spiritual growth is also what I need. What should I pick between both of them? That ability to discern and make the right choice, that is called as Viveka. Now we are going to study Vivekachudamani. Which of these Vivekas are we going to study? Right and wrong, do's and don'ts, whether to come or not come. Shankaracharya says, these all Vivekas are essential, they are needed, but that is not the main topic of Vivekachudamani. So between what and what are we going to discern? We are going to discern between Sat and Assat. Discern between real and unreal. This discernment is the main topic of Vivekachudamani. Next session we can have the BMI chart if possible. So in BMI chart, if you remember, there is Om at the top. Om is Sat, the truth, reality. Then you have Vasanas, V. Then body, mind, intellect. Second row is perceiver, feeler, thinker, PFT. Then object, emotions, thoughts. Starting from Vasanas all the way until object, emotion, thoughts, that is unreal. To discern between real and unreal is the main topic of Vivekachudamani. Now Viveka word is clear. What does Viveka mean? Discernment. Please say it loudly. Discernment. Between what and what are we discerning in Sanskrit? Sat and Asat. What does it mean? real and unreal. Now the word Chudamani. Chudamani means the ornament which is worn on the forehead. That you wear it here. What is it called in English? Huh? No, on the head. Yeah, not choker. Crest jewel. Crest jewel. So let's say there is a person who is wearing bangles, golden bangle, earring, necklace, anklet. That's all I know. Huh? Any more you tell me. Maybe toe ring is also there. In addition to all these ornaments, that person is wearing Chudamani. Which ornament will you notice first? Chudamani. Out of all the ornaments, that ornament which shines out, that is Chudamani. Out of several things which are needed for enlightenment, the main virtue which stands out, that is this viveka. Discernment between real and unreal. That is why this text is called as Vivekachudamani. There are several other ornaments. Shankaracharya himself will elaborate. You need control of mind, control of senses, withdrawal you need. Everything is good, but he says this Viveka is something which is very special. Have you all heard the composition Kasturi Tilakam? There one line comes, Gopastri Pariveshtito Vijayate Gopala Chudamanim. Who is Bhagavan Krishna? Amongst all the gopis, there are several Gopalas. Gopa boys are also there. Amongst them, the one who stands out, that is Bhagavan Krishna. Gopastri Pariveshtito. There are many gopis. Amongst them who stands out, that is this Gopala Chudamani. That Viveka, which points out to Sat, points out to reality. That is the quality which stands out amongst all other qualities which are needed for liberation. Now this verse or this text has around 585 verses. Some places there are difference in counting, so you can say 585 verses. And whenever there is a longer text like this, we should know how to stay grounded, not get carried away, and overwhelmed also. Whole Vivekachudamani is centered on only one verse. If you got that verse, you can just keep asking the question, where is that verse elaborated? And that verse is a series of 7 questions that the student asks. Answer to his 7 questions is entire Vivekachudamani. Shall we chant that question? So by the time you complete, whenever we complete, this question should have been answered. Come to 49th verse in your text. How does it start? Ko nama bandha. Found? Ko nama bandha kathamesha agatah katham pratisthasya katham vimokshah ko savanatma paramah ka atma tayor vivekah kathametaducchatam. Together. Ko nama bandha kathamesha agatah katham pratisthasya katham vimokshah kosavanatma paramah ka atma tayor vivekah kathametaducchatam. Student is coming to the teacher with lot of questions in his mind. He says, the samsara is burning me right now. Then the teacher smiles at him and says, don't worry, there is a way out. Then the student asks this question, these questions. What is the first question? Ko nama bandha. See, one greatness of a student is, he has very well reflected on his question. To articulate what I don't know is a great accomplishment. You'll notice in every student of Vedanta, whichever text you read, their question is very straight to the point and simple. Sometimes not even more than one line. So his question is, what is this bondage? Teacher must have said, just now you came and told me, I am bound, I am having samsara. He says, that is what I feel. Please systematically tell me, what is the root cause of this bondage? My mind only goes to immediate causes. I say this person is cause of my sorrow, or some object, some situation. And I call that as bondage. But he says, please define clearly what is the root cause of bondage. Ko nama bandha. Second question, he says, I never wanted this bondage to come, but still it has come. How has it come about? Why can't I be free, like Upanishads mention? Every now and then they say, your nature is freedom, your nature is bliss. How come this bondage has come? How has it come? Katham esha agatah. It has come, all right. How come it is still surviving? How is it still existing? How does it continue to thrive? What is feeding that bondage? Katham pratishtha asya. Pratishtha means, how is it still rooted? Fourth question he says, how can I be free from it? Katham vimoksha. What is the point in analyzing too much about bondage? He says, after analyzing whatever I have to, tell me how to be free from this. How many questions done? 4 questions. You tell me English, I will tell Sanskritam. What is the first question? Ko nama bandha. Second? Katham esha agatah. Third? Katham pratishtha asya. Fourth? Katham vimoksha. How can I be free from it? Fifth question, he has done Shravanam. He has heard there is something called as self, something called as not self. So he says, please explain in detail, what is this not self? Kaha asau anatma. In BMI chart, not self will start from vasana all the way until objects, emotion, thoughts, which includes the body, mind, intellect. You see the importance of his question, huh? He says, in my day-to-day life, I have to transact through these instruments only. They might be not self. But if I have to interact with the world is also not self. The instrument I'm using to interact is also not self. So please elaborate what is the nature of not self and how I should relate with it. Fifth question is that, kaha asau anatma. Sixth question is, paramah ka atma. What is the nature of this self? How do I transcend this anatma and abide in this self? Unless you know the nature of the self, details about what is the self, you cannot think about it or attain it. So please clearly elaborate what is this Atma. Again, Atma word we have seen before, different people have different connotations. Atma doesn't mean light, Atma doesn't mean some jiva. It is talking about consciousness. What is the nature of Atma? Please elaborate. Now, if Anatma was somewhere, Atma was somewhere, it was very easy. You defined Anatma, you defined Atma, you can choose whatever you want. But he says both of them are mixed up. So please tell me the process of separating Atma and Anatma. Tayor vivekaha katham. How should I discern between self and not self? How many questions done? 7 questions. Answer to the 7 questions is Vivekachudamani. Otherwise, what happens, longer texts, we sometimes get lost in the flow. A student came, we remember. He asked these questions, we remember. And the last part, student is excited and he's declaring to the world, my samsara has gone, my sorrow has gone. You wonder what happened in between. He came, he asked, he said, I was bound. And suddenly he's saying, I am free. What did the teacher do to make him free? Then these questions become important. Another thing, if we think about, it will help us a lot in understanding this text. Before you read the answer given in Vivekachudamani, try to answer these questions yourself. So before next class, think about what is bondage according to you. Where has that bondage come from? How is it still surviving? And according to your understanding, how can I be free from it? Remaining questions are little technical. 4 questions you think. Because Anatma and Atma, even to get a question about it, you should have done some Shravanam. Otherwise, how will that question come? What is self? What is not self? First 4 questions can come to anybody. Right now, what is bondage in my life? Where has it come? How come it is still there? I want to get rid of it, but it still continues. And the last one is, how can I be free from it? Okay? Now let us chant the first verse, the introductory verse. Invocation. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Before any text begins, it is a tradition that the composer should do Mangalacharanam. The English translation of Mangalacharanam is invocation. It is done so that the author, the one who is studying it, one who is speaking on it, everybody is praying, Bhagavan, may the result of this study be seen in our life. It is not another academic exercise where we say, we have studied these many texts and this also I have studied. So the prayer is, whatever is a phalashruti, the joy, the bliss, removal of sorrow and anxiety, may those results be seen in us. Our part is to study. To bring this result is grace of Guru, grace of Bhagavan. Mangalacharanam is for that. Another reason for Mangalacharanam is whenever we start something auspicious, lot of obstacles come in it. You try to make a resolve that every day I'm going to meditate 15 minutes. And you see just on that day, oh my God, those things which have never come will show up. That's why in Sanskritam they made a phrase only, Shreyamsi Bahu Vignani, Nato Ashreyamsi. Erroneous things, if more obstacle comes, it's very good. We will not end up doing it. But in good things, there are many obstacles. So the Mangalacharanam prayer is, even if those obstacles come, may we not lose sight of our goal. May we not drop the path, may we not drop the study of this text. That is another reason, Mangalacharanam. And you will see, even in these sessions that we are doing here, some weekends will be so busy that several things will come up. Ideal is not to miss, even in spite of that. If at all we end up doing it, making sure that we catch up and come back quickly. That is also Mangalacharanam. May our study be committed study. And last reason one can think of, when the author composes it, he says, may my ego not rise. Once that ego comes, the beauty, the pristine nature of the text is lost. Instead of presenting the truth, we will present a view. We will present an opinion. So Mangalacharanam is to pray that may I do justice to this particular text which I have taken up to compose. And we had seen Mangalacharanam is there in different places. Even in martial arts, when they start, they will bow down and do some introductory moves. In music, you see Mangalacharanam. Dance, you see Mangalacharanam. Purpose is the same. That may we do justice to the pristine nature of this knowledge which has been passed on from several generations. May we be a strong link in that chain. That is the prayer. So Shankaracharya here does salutations to his Guru. His Guru's name was Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya. Shankaracharya's Guru was Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya. Govind Bhagavad Padacharya ji's Guru was Gauda Padacharya ji, the one who has composed Mandukya Karika. Not much is known about Shankaracharya's Guru, Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji. He was a great scholar of Sanskritam, and he is considered to be an incarnation of Patanjali Maharshi. He learnt Sanskritam and Vedanta under Gauda Padacharya ji. And when he was studying with him, Vedavyas ji appears and tells Gauda Padacharya ji and tells Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji, send Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji to the banks of Narmada. There you will meet a disciple who is meant to compose commentary on Brahma Sutra. You just go there, your job is to guide. Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji goes, and there he meets Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji. Actually, Shankaracharya ji had first gone to Gauda Padacharya ji to learn. And you know what Gauda Padacharya ji says? He says, I am not accepting any more students. Doctors sometimes they write, right? No new patients. Imagine somebody of the caliber of Shankaracharya is coming. Gaudapadacharya is saying, my desire to teach has gone. He says, I don't teach anymore. I am just reveling in that bliss. Then he comes to Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji. He says, I have to give you an entrance exam. If you have to study with me, your entrance test is write commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama. Shankaracharya ji goes, within few days, writes a beautiful, elaborate commentary on every name of Bhagavan Vishnu. That too with cross references from all Puranas, stories, why this name has come. And just on the first word, Vishwam, he writes several pages. What are the different facets of the word Vishwam? Vishwam, Vishnu, Vashatkaro. Just on Vishwam, he has written several pages. When you see all this, you realize everything is divine grace. If Gaudapadacharya ji had accepted him as his disciple, probably we would not have had Vishnu Sahasranama commentary today. It is just like Arjuna had not gotten deluded, no Bhagavad Geeta. Parikshit ji Maharaj had not put that snake on that Rishi, no Srimad Bhagavatam. So having faith in that cosmic plan, that Bhagavan connects the dots. To that Guru, Shankaracharya says, I bow down. Govindam Sadgurum Aham Pranataha Asmi. Second line, Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham. I bow down to my Sadguru, whose name is Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji. But interestingly, he says, my Guru is not only this physical form. Guru represents that pure consciousness, which is of the nature of existence, consciousness, and bliss. Paramanandam, the greatest bliss, that is my Guru, who is appearing as this form. Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham. In our tradition, we talk about Guru Parampara. How you talk about family tree, right? Father, grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather. After that, it's difficult. Huh? Like that, you have lineage of teachers. Shankaracharya ji is one. His Guru was Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji. His Guru was Gaudapadacharya ji. Gaudapadacharya's Guru was Shukadev ji Maharaj. That is how the tradition goes. If you trace it back, we will reach either Bhagavan Shiva or Bhagavan Vishnu. That's why we chant the verse Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So Shankaracharya is telling here, my bowing down to Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya ji, that namaskar is reaching to Bhagavan directly. Because in my eyes, he is not only this form, but he is that pure consciousness, Satchidananda, which is appearing through this form as my Guru. When Bhagavan Rama meets Valmiki Rishi for the first time, Bhagavan is standing right in front of him. And Valmiki Rishi says, "Oh Bhagavan, nobody can see you. Your body is not made up of matter, but you are Chidanandamaya Deha Tumhare." Bhagavan says, "What do you mean? I'm standing here, you can't see me?" He says, "You represent that pure consciousness which cannot be seen through eyes, nor can it be known through intellect. Brahman is not an object of sense organ, nor an object of mind. Then can somebody see it or nobody can see it?" He says, through the words of Upanishads, through Vedanta, that truth can be understood. That is where the first line comes. What is the first line? Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. This truth is something which is very well recognized through Vedanta. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. Tam Agocharam. It cannot be seen through eyes and mind. Means any sense organ cannot reveal the nature of that truth. That's why Vedantic study needs a fundamental shift in our thinking. If you say you study physics for several years, last statement you make, I know physics. If you study chemistry for several years, what is the statement you'll make? I know chemistry. Studied music for several years, you can say, I know music. Studied Vedanta for several years. Last statement, if you say, I know Brahman, they'll put you back in Tattva Bodha class. Okay? Because Brahman is something which cannot be known as an object. That is why he says, Tam Agocharam. How will I know it? Through the words of Upanishad, as my own true self. That is how this truth is revealed. Okay, so that is this Mangalacharanam invocation verse talking about importance of a guru. Now we should think about this also. Do we really need a guru? Do we really need a guide? Because somebody can say, all literature is available. And they might give examples also. I have learned this particular thing, self-taught. But the thing is, when you start walking that path, you don't have surety whether you are doing it right or wrong. This morning I was giving example of yogasana. If you get into some yogic pose and you are doing it wrong, it is very hard for the book to tell you are doing it wrong. And if somebody has done it, they have walked that path further ahead. It is easy for us to walk the same path. So here Shankaracharya says, Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya is somebody who has walked this path. And he is leading by example. Whatever things I am looking for, he knows where to find it. That is the greatness of having this guidance. Okay. So just like I mentioned in the morning session, Bhagavad Gita session, last 5 to 7 minutes, I will leave it open for questions. So those who are attending new for the first time, I would highly encourage, please take notes. Within 1 week, at least look at the verse again. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. What all points we discussed. And if you get any other insights, need more clarification, then this is a good time. And it helps me also to stay tuned, and it's good to have some interaction. Okay, and don't hesitate. You can freely ask, even if it's a basic question. Any type of question is welcome, but just put some thought about what is the question. You saw how the questions the student asks, right? Very precise. Okay. Please do stay back for a few minutes until the announcements are done. That way we all go together. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.